This is Environmental Science 1, Chapter 5, Part 3 on water. In this portion of the video lecture, we will be discussing ocean pollution, its causes and effects. Generally, most marine pollution gets into the oceans due to the fact that there is freshwater pollution that occurs. So, chemical, biological, or physical agents that are introduced into rivers and streams will eventually make its way to the ocean. A lot of the pollution concentration occurs near the shoreline. This is where most people are, of course. So when we have pollutants being dumped, garbage being dumped, that generally happens closer to the shoreline. There is also different types of ocean pollution that can occur out in open water, but the human-caused reasons for pollution is going to mostly be near the shore. If freshwater pollution has not occurred, pollutants can get dumped directly into the ocean, which is a highly illegal process. Oil spills from the transport of oil in tankers can be a problem in both offshore and out in the open ocean as well. Garbage pollution, the creation of plastics by people in the mid-20th century has caused a lot of degradation of marine habitats. Plastics do not go away very quickly. They take hundreds and perhaps even thousands of years to fully break down in the environment. So plastics can contaminate those near shore and open ocean marine environments. In the mid-70s, there was a push to keep our waterways clean, in particular the destruction of marine habitats due to pollution near shorelines. The laws that regulate and prohibit pollution is the organization MARPOL, which is a shortened version of marine pollution. They developed some laws, international laws, that could control water pollution at the 1974 Helsinki Convention. So this is an example of when and why it is not okay to dump garbage, and in particular plastic, in the ocean. So anything that's within 3 nautical miles offshore, 1 nautical mile, FYI, is 1.15 actual miles. So nautical miles are just a little bit longer than a regular mile. So within 3 miles offshore, they kind of zone that. 3 to 12 miles offshore is kind of another zone. And then 12 to 25 nautical miles is the third zone that is near the shore. And it is illegal to dump many different types of garbage near the shoreline. And that also includes doing that in the Great Lakes as well. So they can get a penalty of up to $25,000. And they can get a fine of up to $500,000, and you can get 6 years in jail. So this is important internationally to uphold those so we can keep our waterways clean. The Marine Protection Research and Sanctuaries Act was strictly a United States effort to help clean up our waterways, which would also include various ways to prohibit the dumping of certain chemicals, certain plastics, etc., to clean up that the nearshore environment. Another United States act to keep our waterways clean was the Oil Pollution Act of 1990. Ever since the Exxon Valdez incident that occurred in 1989, there was a massive oil spill that resulted from that. And the reason why the Exxon Valdez spill was so large in scale was because of the structure of the oil tanker itself. So all ships, oil tankers that are used to transport those petroleum products have to have what's called a double hull for spill protection. So in the cases of traveling in the ocean, if you have an iceberg or some type of debris that is strong enough to puncture the outside of an oil tanker, there is still an extra protective layer with that double hull. So it would hopefully prevent the oil from getting out into the water. Also, a little bit that tied into the Oil Pollution Act was the Marine Mammal Protection Act. This protects marine mammals against harm from pollution, and it also aids in their rescue efforts. So because, we've got all this ocean water on the planet, 97% of our water on the planet is in the ocean. So, who owns that? Well, it was decided in the 20th century that there needed to be some type of rules as to who was in charge of the ocean that was near their shore and how far that jurisdiction extended off the shoreline. So in 1982, the Law of the Sea Treaty was developed. So there's kind of two areas of the ocean to concentrate on with this. What's considered the territorial sea would be 12 nautical miles from a country's coastline. So once you are within 12 nautical miles of, let's say, the west coast of the United States, you are considered in the United States, even though you're not in the land itself. For economic purposes, fishing rights and the like, that will extend 200 nautical miles from the coastline of a country. So for fishing rights, you can go up to 200 nautical miles away from your coast. Any fish that are caught within that 200 nautical miles, you have the right to catch and then sell or eat or whatever it is you want to do with it. After 200 nautical miles, the rest of the ocean is controlled by what's called the International Seabed Authority. Also, we have the ability, technology-wise, today to use satellites and those types of things to view ocean traffic without actually having to send a ship out there. So that is controlled by the International Seabed Authority. So here's just a kind of a little view. So you have your land at the bottom of the diagram there. So again, the territorial waters, that is right next to the shoreline. So once you breach that, you're in whatever country that is in. You get exclusive economic rights for 200 miles outside of your country's shoreline. And then after that, the International Seabed Authority is the one who is in charge of the open water. This has been Environmental Science 1, Chapter 5, Part 3 on water.